Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we are looking at a 4-game slate here on Monday to kick off the work week, one day before the NBA Cup. So we've got a bunch of teams on a back-to-back that we're trying to navigate through. We're bringing you best bets here in this episode. Also have play a props up in the other one, which we're bringing both of them to you each and every weekday moving forward. So make sure to subscribe to that page, continue to follow along. Also got to let you know that if you do not yet have a BetMGM sportsbook account, it is a good time to sign up for one with a great bonus using the code TheLinesYT. When you sign up, you go ahead and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't hit. Plus you get $50 in bonus bets regardless. So really good deal there. If you don't yet have a BetMGM account, definitely use the code TheLinesYT50 when signing up. All right, Nate, let's go ahead and jump into your first best bet here for Monday.
Yeah, I'll take the over in the Bulls game, Bulls home game. That's usually a good bet here. It's 233. And I think you can put half a unit, maybe a quarter unit, depending on, or maybe like the full unit. Just go for it on the Bulls money line with that over because they're in a positive rest spot here. Nets on a back-to-back. The Nets are fading. They're starting to management at least impacting to a degree the fact that they want a higher draft pick. They got to stop winning these games. So we've seen them start to look not nearly as good on either side of the ball. Maybe you worry about the offense with no Cam Thomas, but like it's more of an egalitarian offense, and it's a Bulls defense that's just non-existent, right? I mean, they just run up and down. They're not they're not going to guard the 3-point line. They're not going to keep you off the free throw line. Like it doesn't really matter if it's like Keon Johnson and Zaire Williams, alongside Schroeder here. Like the Nets are going to be getting points. You have to think. And on the Bulls side, like still no Pat Williams, so more Ayo Dosunmu. He's good in pace and space. Lonzo Ball's actually suited up the last two, which is only going to push the pace there when he's able to go for his 20-ish minutes or so. They've gone over in 7 of their last 10, the Bulls, of course, over this number in 9 of those. So like this is low for a Bulls number. It's been 244, I think, in 4 of their last 5, except the Magic game where they still flew over that. And the Nets maybe have lower expectations because their last 2 have come against the Magic, and then have obviously been lower scoring because of that. But these teams are actually both dead last in defensive rating, 29th and 30th in their last 10. They're also bottom 5 in opponents' 3-point shooting. We talked about that Nets good 3-point D early in the season. That's gone apparently 40% for opponents the last few here. Again, 2 in a row against the Magic, not a good 3-point shooting team. The Bulls are lights out from deep, and they're getting them up. And the Nets on the other side are going to be able to get to the free throw line, going to be able to get around Vooch whenever they want. Bulls giving up like 59 paint points, which is worst in the league by far. So yeah, you just play the numbers here. The last 7 at home for the Bulls have averaged 256, and the last 5 overall also at that number with a 105 pace. So like we got room here to go under what they've been averaging and still get over the total.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, who in their right mind would do anything other than an over for a Bulls game right now? They're no commitment to defense, to your point. And there's just a lot of good pace and space. And I'll just get into my SGP to keep the conversation going about this game because I do have one for it, which is Vooch to get 18 plus, the indomitable Vooch, and Josh Giddey to get 5 plus assists, and that's plus 128 on DraftKings. I don't know that you can get the exact combo of 5 and 18 that way on too many other books. I know you can on FanDuel, but this is a really good place to get it. 5 plus assists for Giddey, any way you play it. I really like that. And it's one of those things where I'm trying to juice up the 5.5 assists for him because it's like minus 150 for him to go over that number. I don't really want that by itself. So I just paired it with another thing that I feel comfortable with, which is Vooch. I've been loving anything around 18 plus points for Vooch. I really like this season. He's gone 18 plus and 18 of 21. The scary thing about Vooch is he doesn't very often go like super far past that number. It's usually around 18 to 22 points for Nikola Vucevic. But my Lord, that hit rate speaks to what he's been doing. He's been getting going early in games as he's averaging like 6.5 points per game in the first quarter. Another good look for him is consistently he's at like 4.5 point prop lines for his first quarter points. Another good look for Vooch as they're really, like I said, he's averaging like 5 to 6 shots per game in the first quarter, which you love to depend on that kind of volume. And that's a big part of why then he just kind of keeps it going and doesn't really even need to do quite as much in the second half. But he had a ridiculous 28 points against his team last game. And, you know, the versatility with Vooch, obviously he's been been shooting well above the break from three, but he's also doing work down low in the paint, scoring a majority of his points off a spot up. Had 12 points in the paint against this defense last game, and they have the fifth worst paint defense inside 5 feet in the league right now. And Nick Claxton is still at about like a 24, 25-minute cap moving forward, as he's not even starting some games. He did last game, but don't really love his stamina or durability right now in the way that he's not able to stay on the floor. They don't really have much else behind him. As we know, Ben Simmons, questionable, was unable to come back in the game on Sunday after playing like the first half. So there's not much there in the way of defense down low, and I don't expect there to be much more. So I do expect Vooch to be scoring a good amount of his points down low, and the one or two threes he might hit are just a cherry on top and not necessarily necessary for him to get his. As far as Giddey goes, 5+ assists in 17 of 21. So another really nice hit rate for him. He's up at about 12 potentials per game. And if you look at the games where he's played against bottom assist defenses, teams that are bad at limiting assists, which the Nets are very much that this season, I believe they're 23rd limiting assists, so bottom 8 in the league. And in the 6 games he's played against teams of that sort of nature, bottom 10 against assists, over in 5 of 6, averaging 6.8 assists per game. And at times we've worried about the minutes with Giddey this season, but I mean, this is such a perfect matchup for someone who doesn't necessarily need to shoot off the spot up, but can play a lot of that on ball and then allow guys like Kobe White and Zach LaVine. And to be honest, it's kind of hurt Kobe White when Josh Giddey's usage goes up. So I'm not really looking to pair anything with Kobe and Josh Giddey. I don't think they're as meant for the floor together. So far, it's been a little bit clunkier than when it's just one of LaVine or Kobe White with Josh Giddey. It's a little bit better, but one of the LaVine and Kobe White guys are usually the ones that take a step back in terms of the ball in their hand, the touches, that kind of thing. So I think Giddey is a good look here, and stay away from Kobe if you're taking the same bet is kind of how I play it.
Yeah, Kobe, I think is on the injury report. He's questionable, so that would be huge for this bet. If he's not able to go, you can count on Giddey getting more than like the 24 minutes. Pretty much him and Lonzo Ball, who can't go more than 20 in terms of pushing the pace for this Bulls team. And yeah, like I said, they had good 3-point numbers against the Nets, so that's going to be easy pickings for Giddey when he just kicks it out. So yeah, we got tons of back-to-backs here on Monday night. I like the Lakers a little bit here at +8. I think it's gone too far. It started at +4.5, and then everybody's saying like, I'm going to be sharp here. I'm going to take the extra rest for the Wolves, who've been off since Friday. The Lakers are old and they're on the back-to-back. But when you dig into it, like, that hasn't been this Lakers team. Like, LeBron and AD have played every back-to-back. They've gone 3-0 straight up, 2-1 against the spread, +5 against the number that people have set. D'Lo and Reddish, chance they could come back from illness sitting on Sunday. Austin Reeves as well. I mean, he does have props up. I might be a little surprised if he plays, but like these guys sat on Sunday, and it was a very workmanlike win against Utah, right? Not your like up and down Lakers style, where they really slowed it down in the fourth quarter, and they were just like, let's do just enough, get out of here. We know we got Minnesota tomorrow night. I don't think under JJ Redick that they just punt spots. Like, he's too competitive. He is too invested in getting these guys the most out of these two all-time greats, and so far they've responded in these short rest spots. They also have Rui back. Their defensive rating is 3 points better with him out there. In the last 3, they're a 110 defensive rating, which is good enough to be in the game for sure when you have the 7th best offensive rating in your last 10. And look, who are the Wolves, basically? It's the whole NFL question. Who are the Wolves to be laying 8 points right now? I mean, they barely got a win against a Clippers team that like can't really score. It was a slow, defensive-oriented, grind-them-out game on Friday in the NBA Cup. The Conley-Gobert tandem that is just like, all right, we're gonna focus on defense. We're going to have methodical possessions. Conley's going to get us organized. It's not like the Ant Edwards firing a million threes that we saw earlier and Julius Randle do your thing on the block. They had season low usage from Julius Randle at the win. And I mean, maybe that's a point of emphasis from the coaching staff. Like, we don't need all that, man. Like, just rebound the ball and like play within the offense. The rotation shortening up, the Wolves just playing tighter half-court games. They're dead last in fast break points on the season, and they've depended on free throws a lot. Lakers are actually number 1 limiting free throws in the last 6. So, I mean, the under also on the move in this game, along with this spread. So, I mean, you can't have it both ways necessarily to say the Wolves are just going to blow out this Lakers team and the Lakers aren't going to score at all. Like, if it's going under, I think the Lakers could be within striking distance.
I'm a little bit less concerned. I'll be honest. I was looking at some of the back-to-back numbers in the last couple seasons for AD and LeBron, and I'm not quite as worried. I actually think this is probably at this point in time the most stable bet that I could think of. In part because of how much I don't trust the Timberwolves. I trust them not at all to the point that you're making. I won't trust them until somebody between DDV or Nikhil Alexander Walker like shows up and steps up beyond sort of what they're doing so far, what they were asked to do last year. They need more at this point. And Mike Conley, we know, is more of a spot start or at least spot sort of dependability and not as quite as consistent. So I trust them not at all. And I do trust the Lakers a bit more. And things with Dalton Connect in there, say what you want. Like at least he opens up the floor. Bad shooting last night, but really totally fine. Other than that, when he's in the starting lineup. So with him at 30 minutes, having a bit more, I'm okay if this game kind of goes over. I still think the Lakers are good at +8. It's gone way too far to the point that you made. I'm going to go ahead and take an under in a Pelly's Hawks game. And the Hawks, like I think they're going to win. They're 10-point favorites. The Pellies are just beyond a tire fire, man. It is disgusting out there. And we're probably going to be seeing in this one what we're going to be looking at. DeJounte, CJ. We'll probably get Trey Murphy and Eve Missy. No BI, and we know everybody else. No Herb Jones is still crucial, and obviously no Zion. Probably no Jordan Hawkins. He's day-to-day, so we'll see. But it's just a litany of injuries, and that's a big part of it. It's clunky still. I don't believe in their abilities yet. That Knicks game was telling, as we know, and it was the 85 points was the worst part for them, and it was mostly that they had 25 points halfway through like the second quarter that really did them in, obviously, in that game. But for the under here, look, it's scary with Atlanta because they're playing at a top 3 pace in the league, and I get that. I still think they're probably good to get close to 115, 116, but I don't think necessarily we need to worry about them going too far over it. Their team total is 119 and a half, and they've only cleared that 3 times in the last 12 games. So it's not like they're necessarily just like world beaters, especially with the way Trey's been playing. I didn't even necessarily get to that in my notes, but if you look at Trey in the last like 4 games, I think he's probably a bit hurt as he's been trying to come back from injury, but he's also just doing absolutely nothing. He's not even participating in the offense. Took 9 shots last game, 12 shots the game before, 12 shots the game before, and then 18 versus the Cavs in one of them, but still not looking anything near like himself. And so if he's not bombing threes, I just don't think this offense is nearly as dynamic because the only other 3-point shooters you really trust too much, to a degree, Jalen Johnson, maybe some Dyson Daniels, and obviously Risa Shea's been okay, but Bogey's back, but still on a minutes limit. So the 3-point shooting is really what I get at here because the Pellies of our defense that will just sort of give you what you want to take, right? If you want to take open spot ups, they're willing to give you open spot ups. If you want to get into transition, which the Hawks do, they'll give you those transition up. They've been a little bit better with DJ and CJ back, at least on the point of attack on the transition, because those guys know to get back, at least it seems like. But I really want to take the Hawks to win. I just also don't trust them a ton and could see them not getting up for this game and not necessarily bringing it in a way that you would trust. So with DeJounte Murray, the Pellies, they're under in 10 straight, under in 3 or 4 with those two, I should say, under in 10 straight in general for this number. Over versus Chicago was the only one, and that was a 234 total in that game. So, and that was at the beginning of the season, still had guys in that one that were available. They're dead last in offensive rating. That's going to get better. They're 24th in pace, probably going to go up a smidge, but not too much. And the O rating will get better, but the D rating, I don't trust. I don't know why that would get better. They need Herb Jones out there. They need other guys that are going to be able to play off ball on the spot ups because last year they were very good at that. And this year they are terrible at limiting the spot ups. And it's because of the lack of guys. So for Atlanta, they're up to 12th in defensive rating over their last 10 games. They're 7th limiting points at the rim. The Pellies are going to the rim at the 7th highest frequency in the league, partly because they cannot shoot and don't have the shooters to do so. And for the Atlanta offense, they're 5th in paint frequency, but don't look now because Eve Missy is pretty good down low since he got the start. They're 4th limiting paint. They're giving up the 4th lowest paint field goal percentage in the last 15 games for the Pellies here. So I think a lot of what the Hawks are going to try to do, get in the paint without the ability to shoot nearly as well as they have in the past, and not the ability to get to the paint quite as easy. I don't see them getting the 120 to get this thing over either.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if CJ doesn't go on the second leg of a back-to-back either,
Also
right?
true.
I mean, at his age, Ingram still nowhere to be found. So just not much offense here from the Pelicans. Books are only putting up DeJounte Murray props at this point, so they don't know who else is going to be able to go. He's going to get Dyson Daniels in a nice reverse, double revenge spot. So I don't see him going off here to keep the Pelicans offense afloat. So I think, yeah, you're right to lean towards the Hawks. The spread's too big, in my opinion. But yeah, it's the Pelicans offense cratering that would get you the under.
Just nasty. Yeah. So that's all the time we have for you in best bets. Definitely want to make sure to subscribe to that page. Don't miss the play of props video that we have alongside each and every weekday. And until we see you next, happy betting.